You want it extraordinary? This is what it costs. Let it happen. The painful truth is that you're going to lose things. When you make this kind of seismic decision, there are casualties. The old business paradigm is crumbling before our eyes, and the world needs high-achieving entrepreneurs who are ready to break the mold. Welcome to the Epic AF podcast, where groundbreaking, paradigm-shifting change is the only option. If you're done with standard methods and you're ready to disrupt, then you are in the right place. I'm Kelly O'Neill, an award-winning brand strategist, visionary leader, and unapologetic entrepreneur. This podcast is more than a show. It's a hub for big thinkers, the disruptors, and those that are ready to shatter outdated expectations. Subscribe now, and let's rewrite the rules of entrepreneurship together. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Epic AF podcast. I am your host, Kelly O'Neill, and this podcast is specifically for visionaries and the service professionals that provide them service so that they can get their genius out into the world, shake up the status quo, and leave the planet a better place than when they came into it. In the last episode, because this podcast is going sequentially at the moment in this season, in the last episode, we talked about making the committed decision to live the Epic AF life and have an Epic AF business. So if you've not listened to that episode, you're going to want to go back and listen to that. In today's episode, we are going to talk about what happens when you do that. And I'm going to give you the 5-alarm warning of the shit show that is about to ensue, okay? It just happens, and I'm going to tell you why, so that you are prepared and that it doesn't catch you by surprise. Now, do not panic. Do not worry. I'm also going to tell you what to do when that happens. So we are going to dive in because shit is about to get real. All right, let's dive in. All right, so in the last episode, you made that committed decision to go all in on being epic. You wrote it down, you saved it, you wrote the date, you've set the intention, you made the commitment. Okay, so before you start to picture this smooth ascent into greatness, let me hit you with a little bit of a reality check. The moment that you make this decision, shit will start to fall apart, okay? And it is not a question of if, but when and how much, okay? And I want you to be prepared for that, okay? It's actually not a bad thing. It's actually the greatest thing ever. It just doesn't feel that way when it's going on. And it is literally the slingshot back into mediocrity if you react to it incorrectly. Okay, so how do you even know that you've made this committed decision? Because shit's going to start falling apart. Okay, so here's what happens when you really make that committed decision, right? And I kind of want you to think about another time in this moment. If you close your eyes, I want you to think about a time that you've made a committed decision. You know, maybe it was when you decided to get married to your partner or to start a family. Or maybe it was a time that you're like, that's it, I'm buying the blank, the car, the house, whatever. Maybe it's a time when you said, that's it, I'm going to get fit and healthy. And you started on that fitness routine. And lo and behold, you now forevermore are the gym person, right? Whenever that is, if you can think of a time and close your eyes when you made a committed decision, you know that it feels different. Right? It feels different in your body. It's that place of no matter what. It's the place of no matter how inconvenient, no matter how scared, no matter no matter what. And if you actually do this the other way, when you think of a time that, I'll just let you feel into that for a minute. Let me just not progress. Feel into that place of what it felt like when you made that committed decision. It felt very solid, right? Very, very strong. Right? It was like when I decided to take a hold of my health, I went and got bariatric surgery. Like that is commitment, right? I had part of my stomach got out so that I could get on my journey to health. I've lost 115 pounds since then. Now I'm not saying that's also drastic, right? Because that's kind of how I roll. But think of that time that you made that committed decision in your life, and then think of the results thereafter. Okay, now I want you to think of a time that you thought you were making a committed decision, but you were interested. This could show up in the New Year's resolution department. This can show up in when you've started things multiple times. This is, for me, with my weight, this was every diet that I ever started, right? And then quit 1 week later because I caved, right? I gave in to whatever. I had an emotional, stressful moment, and then I reached for something to quell that anxiety, right? That was everything else beforehand, right? And for you, I'm sure we all as human beings have tons of stories about all of the decisions we made that were actually decisions of interest. Okay, but when you make those decisions, like those permanent life-altering decisions, here's what's actually happening. I want to kind of like give you the inside scoop as to what's happening. You're going to raise your frequency, which is awesome, right? You're going to raise your frequency on this planet because the very act of committing to an epic life literally changes your energetic field. It changes it. You've raised the frequency. And by the law of attraction, everything that is not able to sustain in that frequency, it will not be able to sustain the vibration, and it's going to start crumbling, right? It's going to start crumbling. And this is not a punishment. It's a purge. It's a purge. And it's not a bad thing. Even though at the time, this is why I'm telling you this, because if you don't know, it could feel terrifying. It could, and if you're not committed, you haven't made that committed decision, you're going to revert right back to the same shit that you used to do that created the results that you didn't want. So this is when you are this committed, the things that are not here to serve you will start to fall or get yanked out of your life because you've now set a new standard, right? And everything and anything that does not align with that standard, right? The relationships, the projects, the old habits, the team, the business deals, the clients is going to start falling away. And sometimes in rapid succession. I had a client of mine and a good friend that just went on an epic trip of a lifetime. And on that trip, she was telling me that they had done a lot of thinking and like really visioning the life that they want and making some decisions about the life that they want. And when she came back, she was explaining to me, she called me up and we were on FaceTime and she was explaining to me that, oh my God, it's been terrible since I came back. And I was like, oh my God, what happened? And she's like, we came back and I'd already known about the epic trip, right? I'd seen the pictures and everything and how it was just awe-inspiring to them. They changed, they raised their vibration. She goes, Kelly, I came back from this trip and we immediately lost 4 clients, our biggest clients. We lost 4 clients. And she was just gut-wrenched. And she's like, I don't know what I'm going to do. Like now like we're hitting a cash crunch and we didn't expect this. She goes, we've been in business. I can't remember how many years. She told me 21 years. She says, we've never had this happen. And I looked at her and I was smiling and she looked at me and she's starting to get pissed. She's like, this isn't funny. And I was like, no, congratulations. And she was like, what? I just told you that like the worst thing in my life just happened. And I said, no, the best thing just happened. You just cleared away things that weren't meant for you. This isn't a dead end. This is a redirection. Something's coming in that's more in alignment of what it is that you want in your life. And the minute that I said that to her, she started to soften, and she looked at me, and I started to explain this. I said, look, I'm going to tell you exactly what happened. You went on this trip. You had these epic realizations. You decided what you wanted your life to be like. You decided what you wanted your business to be like. And immediately upon coming back, you started purging all of the things that you didn't need. But if you think about it, what have you also started to attract in? Because I bet you things have come in, right? Things have started to come in. And she's like, oh, well, yeah, we actually had, and she started telling me things that had happened and people that she had met. And I said, are they more in alignment with with the life that you want and the business that you want? And she goes, yeah. And I said, okay, don't freak out. Like, this is temporary and you're heading in the right direction. That's all this is telling you, is that you're heading in the right direction. And a couple days later, I talked to her and she's like, you're right. Like, this happened and this happened and this happened. And I said, right. I said, and I had told her in that moment, you've got to stay to your vision. You've got to stay to your vision, because if you don't, and if you guys start faltering and going back to what's comfortable and the old way of doing things, you're just going to get yourself restuck in the pattern. And I'm like, hold tight. It's coming in. Okay. So you got to think of it this way. You're upgrading your life to high def, right? It's like a higher definition. So anything low res simply can't hang with you at this level. You're elevating yourself. And when you elevate yourself, in doing so, you're going to create a void where everything that doesn't serve your highest purpose is going to fall away. And I'm telling you, it is not fun in the moment. It is, or it can be, unsettling. It can be uncomfortable. And I mean, I had stuff it can be brutal, right? Downright brutal. And it's exactly what needs to happen to make room for what's next. So I want you to brace yourself. And remember, when the shit starts to hit the fan, you're like, oh yeah, Kelly said this was going to happen. You got to ride it out. And you got to remember your commitment, right? This is the moment, and these are the moments where you need to hold fast to your commitment. You decided to be epic. And this is where you're going to be tested, right? Your life may start to look like a demolition site as things that no longer serve you, whether cars, washing machines, computers, whatever, things, people, circumstances start dropping away. It may feel scary. In fact, okay, I'm kind of sugarcoating that. I don't even know why I'm sugarcoating that. Let me just tell you, it's going to be fucking terrifying, right? And it can feel like chaos. And your instinct is going to be to reach back to the familiar, right? To try to get a hold onto the good things that you thought were supporting you. But remember, we're not here for good. We're here for epic. And your job right now is to ride it out. Lean into the discomfort and hold on to the commitment that you made. And remind yourself, I don't care if you have to do it every 3 minutes, remind yourself that this storm is clearing space for something greater. You want it extraordinary? This is what it costs. Let it happen. The painful truth is that you're going to lose things. When you make this kind of seismic decision, there are casualties. And I don't want to sugarcoat it because I want you to be prepared. You may lose relationships, team members, clients, contracts, projects. You're going to start to notice things dropping away one by one. And it stings. Some of those losses are going to hurt like hell because they're familiar and they're comfortable. But here's the brutal truth. Familiar does not mean aligned. To live at your highest potential and to embody your purpose and your genius, you cannot be held back by things, people, opportunities that were only designed for the old version of yourself, the unepic version, the person who is tolerating the mediocrity. That's why these things need to go. Because if they can't sustain your new vibration, they're not coming with you. And that's exactly how it should be. One of the things that I had to remind myself, and that I had to have other people remind me as I was losing things, often, I literally had people that I was like, listen, shit's hitting the fan, and I need you to remind me of this. So when I call you, and I'm crying, and I'm boo-hooing, I've got the snot running down my face, and I'm freaking the fuck out, I need you to remind me that sometimes good things are going to fall apart so that epic things can come together. They have to. It's literally the law of the universe. So remember, I'm going to say it again. When things start crumbling, remember this. Sometimes good things need to fall apart so that epic things can come together. I know that this sounds like one of those motivational cliches, but it's true, right? You're not just leveling up. You're creating a life of purpose and impact. And it requires space, right? Space that was once filled up by good enough people, projects, and situations, things. This isn't about improvement, guys. It's about total transformation. Imagine this. Like a controlled burn in nature. You guys know what that is, right? Like they actually go out, and in order to create fertile ground for new growth, sometimes everything has to be cleared away. So they literally go out and they burn down whatever they need to burn so that new growth can come away, right? This clearing creates a vacuum. And in that vacuum, extraordinary things can take root. Here's one of these laws, right? One of the rules of the universe. Two things cannot occupy the same space at the same time. So if you want epic in your life, you are going to have to make room for it, because you can't have good enough and epic. You got to let go. So you got to get ready. And I want to tell you, this decision is also going to piss people off around you. They will become uncomfortable, right? I promise you. I'm going to tell you right now, you're about to see who is there for you and who was there for a different reason. Okay? It's going to piss people off, plain and simple. Because when you choose to stop settling, right? When you choose to live fully, when you would choose to align with your highest purpose, people who aren't on the same path are going to have a reaction, right? Some people will criticize you. Other people might just distance themselves from you, right? Like you might notice that someone who maybe once was there all the time, like there's distance in your relationship. And here's the other thing. Some people are going to try to pull you back down. And that's fine. Here's the truth. Those are not your people. Your people, the ones who are meant to be with you on this epic journey, are going to celebrate your elevation, not resent it, right? They'll cheer for your success, not question it. They'll stand by your side as you grow, evolve, and transform. They'll be inspired by your courage, not threatened by it. Anyone who can't handle the new, upgraded you does not belong in the next chapter of your story, right? The next chapter is by invite only. So you got to make room for the epic in a world that feeds off mediocrity. And choosing to be epic is radical. It's rebellious. It's disruptive and requires more than just a declaration, right? It requires space. It requires space for those new aligned opportunities, for those new people, those new humans. It requires space for those people who resonate with your vision. It requires space for new ideas, projects, partnerships that match that new level of frequency, right? You can't stay in the same environment and expect to evolve. You can't cling with a death grip to old patterns and expect transformation. You gotta let the old stuff go, and you gotta trust the process. And in fact, I'm gonna ask you not only to just trust it, I'm gonna ask you to embrace. I know, you're probably like, whatever, Kelly, but I'm telling you, you gotta embrace the losses because they are the very, very things that are clearing the way for your true purpose to arise, your epic potential to come into your life fully. You gotta burn the boats, okay? This is when you know, when this stuff starts to happen, this is when you know if you've actually made the committed decision to be epic, because like I said, it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. And this is that moment where you're gonna stand in resolve and just say like, that sucks, but I choose epic, okay? This is your moment of no return. You made a decision. There's no going back. It's time to burn the boats. It's time to cut the safety nets and commit with everything you have. Guys, this journey is not for the faint of heart, but you're here because on some level you're ready for it. Because if you weren't ready for it, you would not be here. It's the universal law, right? You've chosen epic and now you need to go all in and let the transformation begin. Remember that things start to fall apart, they're making room for something bigger. And I know that I'm repeating myself here, but I'm doing it intentionally because when that panic sets in, you got to hold tight and write it out and let the epic unfold. So I want to give you some actual tangible strategies and tips for when the panic hits and how you can stay epic AF, right? Because it's not about, this epic life is not all about sunshine and victory laps, right? It's going to test you. It's going to push you. And yes, sometimes it is going to make you lose your shit, right? You are going to panic. Totally normal. I want to let you know that when you are panicking, it's normal. The trick is to not let that panic derail your commitment. So I want to teach you 10 powerful, actionable strategies to pull you back to center and keep you focused when the going gets tough, okay? Remember, you're not just interested in being epic, you're committed. And that means facing the fire, even when it feels like it's too much, all right? So aside from listening to this episode, because I promise you this is one of those things that you're gonna wanna go back to and listen over and over again, the first thing that you can do is you can literally breathe and ground yourself. So when you start to panic, take 5 deep, intentional breaths, right? Literally, breathe in the epic, breathe out the panic. I want you can put your feet on the ground. In fact, even better, I know this is going to sound weird and super hippy dippy, but if you go outside and take your shoes off and feel the ground beneath your feet, run the grass through your toes, right? I want you to feel the ground beneath you, and I want you to remember that you are rooted in this commitment. Panic is temporary, epic is permanent. I want you to revisit your why, right? I want you to write down, why did you choose epic in the first place? Like journaling. Journaling is great, right? And it gets your head into a different position. Why did you choose this journey in the first place? Why did you choose epic? Right? Why are you letting go of all that stuff? It's not serving you. And I want you to keep this somewhere where you can see it daily. Your purpose and that bigger why is going to outlast the discomfort of the growth. The third thing that you can do is you can remind yourself, again, whether it be by putting it somewhere where you can see it, having someone tell you, re-listening to this podcast, remind yourself that discomfort is proof that you're leveling up, right? Growth isn't supposed to feel safe and easy. It's not supposed to feel comfy. It's not like a warm snuggle with your puppy. It's not like the little blankie you run around yourself. That's not it, right? Every time that you feel panic, tell yourself discomfort is a part of the transition. It's part of the transformation. When you start to feel that panic, like we need to give your brain something to do, right? So the fourth thing that you can do is I want you to visualize your epic life. I want you to spend 5 minutes imagining your epic life and business in vivid detail. I want you to visualize the relationships. I want you to visualize the impact. I want you to visualize the freedom that you're building. You align your mind to that future. Like these are things you can do on a daily basis anyways. The fifth thing that you can do is I want you to talk to your inner circle. You know those people that I said, like you need your circle of epic? I want you to reach out to one of your true supporters. By the way, do not reach out to someone that you have not let go of yet because they're going to be like, yes, you're right. Who do you think you are? You need to get back to what worked for you before. Like, look, you've made this epic decision. Now look what's happening to you. No, you do not want those people in your life, right? You need to reach out to someone who gets it, reach out to your true supporters, someone who gets your vision and is not going to let you back down, right? A quick call can reignite your life and reignite that fire and help you refocus, right? And if you don't feel comfortable with people in your circle, maybe you're like, listen, my circle does not have those people, then seek out a healer or a therapist. In fact, I'm going to tell you right now, I highly recommend that anyways. In fact, my healer was the person that I would call when shit hit the fan. And she'd be like, awesome, congratulations. Oh, I'm so glad. You know, when I broke up with that boyfriend, she's like, great. And as I'm sitting there with my tears streaming and my makeup all over the place, and she's like, congratulations. You know, when I had that moment of panic when my right hand that I thought I couldn't live without in my business disappeared. By the way, got a new right hand that's better than anyone I've ever had before. But in that moment, I was like, taking those deep, shallow breaths, head between my knees, trying to not have a panic attack. She's like, woo, awesome, you're doing it. You need to call those people. So seeking out a healer or a therapist is going to be fantastic. Call your lifeline. Call a friend, a real friend. Number 6, you can write down your wins, right? List every win, no matter how small, that has come from choosing Epic, right? That's what I had my friend do when she called me. I was like, wait a minute. I know that great stuff has happened because you made this decision. You up-leveled by nature, by the laws of nature. Awesome stuff has happened. Let's think about it. What's happened in your relationship since you've made this decision? What's happened in your business? What's happened in your health? What's happened in your home? You're going to start to see evidence. In fact, this is something you should be doing anyways. You're going to start to see evidence that you're moving forward. And if it doesn't feel, even if it doesn't feel like it right now, good shit has happened. I want you in number 7 to practice the no plan B mentality. Remind yourself that even if you want to, there's no going back. You burned the boats, mentally and emotionally. You are in it to win it. You're in it for the long haul. There's nothing worth having that is achieved by retreating. You burned the boats. Number 8, I want you to shift from a what if to a what's next mentality. Panic often arises from what if scenarios, right? Like, oh my God, what if I can't pay my bills? Oh my God, what if I never find someone? What happens if they leave me? That's where the panic sets in and you freak out. Instead, ask yourself, what's my next best step, right? This clearly cleared a way for a reason, or this clearly came into my life for a reason. Action breaks panic. So take a concrete step forward, no matter how small. Get into action. Number 9, remind yourself, reframe this loss as a clearing space, right? Reframe your loss as a clearing space. Look at what you're losing as necessary to make room for what's coming. You can even say to yourself, this is creating space for something better aligned with my epic. And you can say it 1,000 times. Repeat it like a mantra until that panic goes away. And number 10, you can set a time for epic action, right? Like pick one task that's going to move you closer to your vision and set a timer for 10 minutes. Focus slowly on that task, like exclusively, like get everything else out of your head. Focus all of your energy and intention on that task because action fights fear. And 10 minutes of progress will remind you of your power. Okay. And I want you to keep these strategies close. Download this episode. Keep it on your phone. And when panic sets in, just revisit what I've told you here to stay aligned with your epic journey. You've got this. You've got this.